Alright fans, I finally got the video all made, as it is now time to reveal the tracks for the 2023 MTWS season. 2 months of work, actually less than 2 months. I did this a little bit quicker than I did last year, despite the fact that I had to make 2 extra tracks. So, quite surprising. So anyways, have some new racing styles, have some race styles that have been done in real life that's the first time being used in MTWS, and a whole bunch of other stuff. So, are you ready, fans, to see the tracks for the 2023 MTWS season? So, here we go! So we start off with the season opener in Tampa, as it is going to be St. Louis style. First time we've done St. Louis style in Tampa since 2014, and can't wait to go back there in a few weeks at our return. This track actually has a lot of new stuff to it. Using Descended Jammer that Monster Jam uses, that's the first time I'm using it. And I'm used a roller, I'm calling it the Skill Roller, as is a roller you see right over there, it's in blue, allows you to get stoppies and stuff off it, as I'm trying to emphasize that a lot this upcoming MTWS season for freestyle obstacles. And I brought a new step up that I haven't used before from the updates I've done last year, and a new fountain that I got from a track too. First time I'm using this fountain on the track. And of course, as always, I must show how the track is done for racing, but of course you all know what St. Louis style's done, but gotta show it off for other tracks because you have no idea what they're gonna be, as I drive the MTWS truck out there in these demonstrations. But yeah, our season opener, the East Coast season opener in Tampa, is gonna be St. Louis style racing. Cannot wait for that. And then after that, it's our season debut in Las Vegas, first time at Allegiant Stadium, as is Vegas style racing. Of course, why would I not do that here, as it's so memorable. As also used obstacles I've never used before. I brought out a tanker out there in the center jump for a backflip wall, and that took a lot of practice to get right. Hours and hours and hours of work. I brought out my tabletop that I used in my custom Las Vegas 2022 track. I think that's the first time I've ever used it in MTWS. And I made a double with fountains on it for a unique touch. I can't wait to see anyone try and clear it, because it's not easy, because there's not that much space. The V5 trucks can't get a lot of speed, remember. So yep, good old Vegas style racing. And I hope you all tune in on August 23rd for the season openers. First in Tampa, and then wrap up that night in Vegas, as those are the tracks for season opener. But we still got one more track in August. And then after that, we're off to our debut in Chester, Pennsylvania, as it's going to be Chicago-style racing. Of course, this will be the first non-live event, so none of y'all will be able to see this, other than maybe stuff afterwards. But yeah, as you can see, a smaller track, but managed to fit a whole bunch of obstacles in and such. Cluttered, but it works. As we show off the track, Chicago-style racing, of course. Cannot wait to make our debut there on August 27th. And I hope you all enjoy as well. And going right back for that lane, and then gonna go right for the other one. Here we go, right up and over, and then there it is, Chester 2023 on August 27th. And after that, we head down to Houston, as it's gonna be over and under World Finals 21 style, as we just managed to get that squeezed in there. And I made some new obstacles, a new jammer double, as you see over to the right. That took a lot of editing to do, but managed to fit. And this track reminds me almost a lot of Edmonton and New Orleans, which was over and under as well. Now, of course, this track is pretty difficult actually on V5, because the V5 does not have a lot of speed to clear the jump. There's a good chance you actually might fall short, as I think I did in this demonstration too. So, if there's a potential live event, because we have no idea what the live events in September are, the drivers are going to need to get a lot of practice done, because it's not guaranteed to clear it, as we go for it right here. And just barely clears. Oh, nosedive right there. So yeah, got to be very careful going for this track to line up for it. But yeah, that's Houston on September 3rd. And then after that, we're off to Foxborough, as is going to be inverse St. Louis style racing. Because when I was but before I made this track, I watched the Secret World of Monster Trucks documentary from 1999, and I saw a racing style that looked similar to this, and I decided to try it out. So it's St. Louis style racing, but with a little bit of a twist. Instead of in, out, and in, it's out, in, and out. So you start in the outside lanes. And you see right here, just like that 1999 event, it had 2 jumps over there, and then gonna go right for the center jump. And then, down here, make your turn, and line up for the final racing jumps, and there you go! Inverse St. Louis Style Racing, as I'm calling it. I'm pretty sure I used it in a name from last year. I can't remember, but what else am I going to call it? As a track for Foxborough. And then after that, on September 17th, we're down in New Orleans, as we're going to be doing U-turn style racing, as there wasn't many options to use for New Orleans, since either stuff's been done before or we already did a track recently for it. And I do not allow duplicate tracks so soon after another. So U-turn style racing, but I think I managed to got it working out somewhat. So now, of course, demonstration, go over that little jump. So add a little bit of variation to U-turn instead of make it just simple straight down and turn. And yeah, that's racing's U-turn style for MTWS 2023 New Orleans on September 17th. And then the final event for September is Vancouver, as we're doing paperclip style, as I added a box fan on one of the jumps, which I did not do, I don't believe, last year. And remember in the season opener in Detroit where I added like a tanker backflip wall and it didn't quite work out? Well, I did a whole new one now, as I add the backflip container instead, and it worked in practice, so hopefully it would work out this time around. And yeah, those are all the tracks for September. I still have no idea what's going to be live or not. I actually might have a little bit of an option coming up soon for all of you in the future, so tune in for that, because that could determine what's going to be live for this event for September. Houston, Foxborough, New Orleans, or Vancouver. As there's a demonstration for the track as paperclip style in Vancouver on September 24th. And then we go into October as we start off with Julian as one of our biggest tracks. Now, of course, for racing, I decided to do something different. Straight line racing, which I haven't done in a long time in MTWS, with a little bit of variation like in Atlanta Motor Speedway track. And of course, I brought out a somewhat new obstacle I've never done in MTWS. A mud pit. As the jump right in front of the step up is mud, so that you can land right in front of it. Some beautiful mudslinging action. Cannot wait for this event on October 1st. As here's the demonstration. I was originally, when I first fought this track, I was thinking about maybe doing over and under on this track like World Finals 21, but it would not fit properly in that area, and it took so much room away for obstacles I wanted to do, so no over and under, and that's why I ended up doing straight line racing. But that's the track for October 1st in Julian. And then after that, we're off to DuQuoin for our debut there, as is Chicago-style racing once again. And we brought a new obstacle we haven't used in a long time in MTWS, garbage truck stack. Last time we did that, oh my god, I don't remember what it was, a long time ago. But it was on like a hill. This is straight on the ground and all that. So yeah, this is the track for DuQuoin, as there really wasn't a lot of options to think of for making a track in DuQuoin with such small space. And of course, Chicago style lasted in Chester, which would be over a month ago by this point. So it was more than fair to finally do Chicago style racing once again. As yet, here it is, the track for MTWS's debut in DuQuoin on October 8th. Cannot wait for that. And then after that, on October 15th, it's going to be Detroit, as it's going to be SoCal style racing. And this track is cool because it has some obstacles with ramps that I made completely from scratch, like that bus stack down there with the Packers colors. And I think I made that ramp for the container stack all the way to the top right. And of course, I made that incredible container stack in the center jump, which is clearable. This is a wild setup I did right there, and I remade the double that I've used in previous MTWS events with the newer cars and all that. What a wild track this is! So now to demonstrate, as you see right there, of course, normal mode. SoCal style, had a little bit of a bump right there in the turning cars, as the V5 trucks are really difficult for me to do SoCal style race on for some reason, as I clipped the turn cars right there. Took multiple times to get the filming done. Yep, take the turn, go right over the center jump, and there you go. SoCal style racing in Detroit, as we cannot wait to go there on October 15th. And then, for our international event, as MTWS heads to Cardiff, UK, on October 22nd, as this is a huge track. It's U-turn into St. Louis like 2021 Denver was, as the jump in the middle is the Triple X, although it had to be massively resized in order to make the jump since the V5 trucks could not make the jump. However, unfortunately, they still can't quite make the jump unless they line up perfectly into turns and get enough speed. Then it is clearable, which is going to be vital for racing, otherwise you could be doing a lot of front flips out there. This will be a tough track, as I demonstrate right here, as you gotta go into the turn, maybe not cut it, I almost got all the way to the wall and it still didn't really make a difference, I slid out right there, But yeah, you gotta get so much speed to clear it. Otherwise, you're gonna be in a little bit of trouble right there. That wasn't as bad as it normally is, but I had multiple attempts earlier where I didn't get enough speed and front flipped and stuff. So yeah, when this event goes live on October 22nd, the drivers are gonna have to be very careful. They have to line up like full speed, like all the way towards the wall, and then you can clear it somewhat, as I slow down a lot right there before hitting it. But again, that wasn't too bad of a landing. And I tried to smooth out the ramps, but I couldn't get any better without messing up the rest of the track. But anyways, that is Cardiff for our international event on October 22nd. Tune in for that. And then to wrap up October, as we're making our debut in Phoenix with more paperclip style racing. It seems a little empty, but there are going to be bonus obstacles out there for freestyle. And I wanted to add a backflip wall over there near where that trailer was, kind of like the track that I based this off of. But unfortunately, it wouldn't fit with the racing style I wanted to do, so ended up had to be scrapped. But yeah, that's going to wrap up October on October 29th as MTWS makes its debut in Phoenix. As cannot wait for that event. And now to begin Orlando and for November, as is going to be elevated style St. Vegas style racing that was done in World Finals 20. As yep, why not do it here to give it a try? And of course, I made that bus stack and that car tabletop stack to the bottom right from scratch with the ramps and all that. And after the first time in 2 years, I brought back the All-Star Challenge Triple and had to remake it with the new cars and all that. Cannot wait to see how this track will do for that event. And for some reason, I don't know why, this track is so much easier to drive on this elevated style racing in World Finals 21, especially down the turns, because the truck will slide out so much and make it like undrivable for me. But there we go. That is MTWS in Orlando on November 5th with elevated style racing. And then on November 12th, MTWS is going to San Diego as we're doing Bob style racing, which I just barely managed to fit. It was a tight squeeze, but I managed to do so as I made a huge camper stack to the bottom left of screen with the center ramp made completely from scratch, as it was a tight fit, but I managed to do it as there's a whole bunch of cross-thread jumps on each side of it. And of course, there's the tabletop ramp I made from Orlando, with modified with some tires on it and on the side of it. Yep, this was a tight fit, but managed to get it to work. As of course, Bob Style and made for his Orlando RSPS track 2 years ago, and I used it in Houston last year. As there you go. Then you got a line break for the last jump over here, and there you go. That is Bob Style Racing, as it'll make its debut in San Diego on November 12th. And then on November 19th, we're in Arlington for figure 8 style racing. And almost half the obstacles here were made by scratch. I made that new double in the middle. I made that huge jump, bus stack jump to the top left, kind of based off the World Finals 22 bus stack jumps. And I made like a cross-thread ramp down there at the bottom, although it wasn't really good design. And of course, I remade like my triple from the World Finals custom track on BeamNG I made 2 years ago, with the fountain in the middle and the fan stack inside of it. Yeah, boy, this is an insane track, and the first time ever I'm using a bus stack, a bus as a backflip wall, which is also based on that throwdown custom track on BeamNG years ago. As figure 8 racing also is tough for V5s, at least in my experience, as you gotta go around these huge obstacles. Oh yeah, and you got Fred and Neil in between the walls, but it is possible. And then you gotta go around the huge bus stack obstacles, and then gonna go right for there, and there you go. Figure 8 style racing for Arlington, as it'll be used when it'll go to Arlington on November 19th. And then on Thanksgiving, MTWS is going to Baltimore with a unique racing setup. It's the elevated St. Louis style from World Finals 22, but with a twist, as I made that bus stack from scratch on the bottom, the left, the right side. I made that the ramp with the box cars right there as well, and brought the P-Pro World Finals free plane fuselage obstacle back for a track. We haven't used that ever in MTWS. And of course, I made a ramp out there and put 2 planes out there. Cannot wait to see the trucks jump in and land on it for the beautiful crush and all that. And I brought out the racing lane from World Finals 14 on the track as well, for something unique that's never been done in freestyle competition before. And not only that, what makes it unique, as you get on the track, you're going to have to jump on the track, and you see right there, you jump onto the track. How about that for an interesting touch? After that, it's just like Elevate St. Louis style used in World Finals 21. As, oh boy, this track is huge, and I cannot wait for MTWS to make its debut for Thanksgiving in Baltimore on November 23rd. Tune in for that. That's going to be a wild event, especially what I have in mind for freestyle with that unique obstacle out there. That is if it hopefully works. And then we wrap up November with Toronto, as it is Jersey style racing, which haven't been done yet this year, as a whole bunch of unique obstacles, as I went crazy looking for different stuffs. I found I had a fire truck, ambulance, and bulldozer tech file, so I decided to use them. How about that? Using a bulldozer's ramp, a blade, as a ramp. That's an interesting idea, and that took a lot of work to figure out getting it working, all that. So first time using a fire truck and ambulance, and I made that bus stack obstacle in the middle from scratch. I remade that double over there from scratch as well. And of course, I made a unique, interesting skill roller obstacles over there. As you see, there's 2 of them. What's that about? Well, you'll have to see when that event happens, because it's something that a certain driver has done in practice a few years ago that I'm going to actually do in competition. So yeah, here we go. Now it's showing off Jersey style racing here in Toronto for its debut as well. As gonna go right there. That gap right there is very difficult. You saw right there, I clipped the side of the bus. That's actually pretty difficult in my experience to line up straight forward with the speed. So yeah, I can clear it, and there's those skill rollers I was talking about, so close to each other. And then finally, we're wrapping up with the final turn. Going right down there and lining up for it. And didn't really have a good lineup for it, but there you go. That is going to wrap up November in Toronto with Jersey style races. Now we get into the very crowded December. Alright, then we begin December 3rd, as MTWS is going back to San Antonio after all these years, as more obstacles were made by scratch, as it is U-turn style racing with extra jumps too. Remember the that bus stack I made in Arlington? Well, I brought it back here and resized it a little, rechanged it a little bit, and I even add like a step-up almost option right there, as you see, with the extra car to get some sky wheelies land on the bus. I made a new double stack right there with the San Antonio Longhorns from my PFA Football League on it as well. I brought back the rock pile from World Finals 5. It's been a long time since we last used that I brought out there. I made a new car stack, as you see right there, that's blue and red all the way up there. And right next to it, it's very difficult to tell because of the color, there's tanks out there. First time I'm using that in MTWS since the 2022 championship. There are tanks out there. It's just very difficult to see. But yeah, a big track for our return to San Antonio after 8 years. And as for racing, U-turn styles, like I said, it's actually pretty tough right here with this last jump. You have to kind of slow down right before you go for it, because you can overshoot the turn. There we go, as I slid out, unfortunately. There you go. Line up for the center jump right there. The race lane, as I screwed up really badly because the truck had to hit the side of the hill. But that is U-turn style racing in San Antonio for December 3rd. Then after that, on December 10th, we're making our return back to Anaheim, as we brought out some new obstacles as well. We brought out the cross-thread jump from World Finals 13, which we've never used before. Finally getting to use that. I brought out the fountain that was from World Finals 10. Haven't used that in quite a bit in any of my obstacles lately, because I've been using a different fountain. And of course, I brought back the bus stack I made from scratch from a few events ago, and the container stack as well. And also goes against like the policy of MTWS, but of course, as you can tell, it's SoCal style racing, and it goes against the policy somewhat because the last 3 events in Anaheim have been SoCal style racing. So yeah, if we ever go to Anaheim ever again in the future, no SoCal style that time around, because it's getting old here in Anaheim. We need to do something different. But hey, I need to save the other tracks for later on, so this had to be like forced onto it, as that is SoCal style racing for December 10th. And then after that, on December 17th, MTWS is going to make its debut in West Lebanon, as it's going to be Chicago-style racing on a speedway track. With a little difference, too, is there's bumps crossing over, too. This track was actually very difficult to race on. Up there's one of the more difficult racing styles, believe it or not, because of those bumps. And the V5s didn't handle them well, but hey, gotta do it for a little bit of a variation. And of course, I left a little message on the track. Steve Perry's message about how he'll never do Chicago-style racing in his league in West Lebanon, as a rip and roast of my track, remember I made last year? Yep, put that out there for a lull. Alright, now to show it off, as I gotta go right for the racing lanes, as there's Perry's message. And this is where tough one comes in. You have to line up just perfectly. I went off the side a little bit, so that'll probably be a penalty. I think I did a little bit better job right here. It's actually a very difficult jump to line up straight for, too. You gotta, like, get the slide just perfectly as I did right there. And there you go. As I crossed into the other lane. Oh, my God. It's so hard to drive on that track. But there you go. Chicago-style racing for MTWS's debut in West Lebanon on December 17th. And then on Christmas Eve, MTWS is going back to Denver. As this is a unique racing style, I'm calling it. Thanks to Adam for helping me out make it. As it's called Denver style. And I'm going to get to that in a little bit, but I brought out the rock pile from World Finals 13. I don't think I've ever used that in MTWS. That's out there. Brought out the center jump from World Finals 3 and put cars out there. I brought back the All-Star Challenge Triple and the Corkscrew, which remember, made their debuts in MTWS in Denver 2 years ago, so I had to bring them back for a reference. Yeah, cannot wait for this track. Now, for the racing style itself. As Denver style, it's kind of like 2021 Denver, but it has a twist to it that I originally wanted to do in Denver 2 years ago, but I couldn't do. So, it's U-turn to St. Louis, you go for this jump right here, but then you had to cross over by going over this jump or going in between jumps, so like over and under. And you see right there, it's a little bit of a difference right there, and you see, it's a long track too as you go into the other lane. And then, you make the turn right here, gonna go right for jump as I slid out a little bit right there, and gonna hit the side of the center jump. And then, of course, gotta go under or cross over in the other lane, so right there. And that took a lot of work and practice with me and Am had to do to get this working properly. Still wasn't quite the exact step I had in mind 2 years ago when I wanted to do it in Denver, but it works out basically how I wanted it to go. As that is Denver style racing in Denver, as it'll make its debut in MTWS on Christmas Eve. And then, of course, for the unplanned Christmas event in Atlanta, as it is figure 8 style racing. And boy, did I have to squeeze in a whole bunch of stuff to make it fit right as I brought a Christmas tree out there. That took a lot. That was a lot of work to find too. I made a new jump too for the bus stack you see right there down at the bottom. I had to take the fountain and squeeze it just tight so you could fit in between the jumps and all there. And of course, I brought back first time ever for MTWS the All-Star Challenge backflip wall with the cars in the end. That's the first time we're using that in MTWS. And yeah, now let's show up the track for Atlanta. It's figure 8 style racing. I feel like it's tougher though than Arlington, especially with the tight squeeze. That took a lot of work to get the fit in here for some reason. It wasn't easy like the track last year was. And there we go. Go right there. And that tree actually is a little bit of annoyance in freestyle, but of course only I'm going to be dealing with that. That was a nice save right there. And as figure 8 style racing for MTWS in Atlanta live on Christmas Day, so tune in for that. And then finally, the season finales as we start off in East Rutherford with this new racing style I made up called Dash Style Racing. As it is pretty interesting and took a lot of work thanks to M2 for helping me set up everything as well. So how does Dash Racing work? So Dash Style Racing, you start on one end, you go over this hill, and then you go into this turn, go like all the way across the track, make the turn right here, and then you're right in the center track, you take the turn right here, go over the Jets and Giants racing lane, and there you go. Very quick, very interesting. I'm glad I thought of it too, out of the fly while I was making this track. And of course the track looks empty. Don't worry, there's going to be a whole bunch of stuff out there for freestyle, but we had to keep the track clear for racing. As that is Dash Style Racing, can't wait to see its debut on December 31st for the season finale in East Rutherford. And then finally, MTWS season finale for the West Coast in Oakland, as it is Paperclip Style Racing. I think the third time I'm using it this year. As I add some differences too to this track usually too. Step-ups on opposite ends with the one over there, with a fountain in the middle. Interesting touch. Just did cars on the other side too. And I had cars on one of the ramp facing downward vertically, like in World Finals 9's car stack ramp. So yeah, that is Oakland. And of course, if you didn't see it, there's actually 2024 written on the fountain, as you might see come up right here. Of course, remember, this event will probably end like an hour before 2023 would end and all that. That would be wild. And I cannot wait for that. And this insane event to wrap up the season. After the incredible success MTWS had in 2022, I hope 2023 is just as wild. And of course, that is it for all the regular season tracks for 2023 MTWS season. Of course, the Runners-Up Cup and the Championship track I did not make, and I'm not going to be making for quite a while right now. And now that I got a break from making the op tracks, I'm going to begin back to work on the MTWS Las Vegas pack, which I started working on last night too. So, hopefully get that done very soon. So I hope you all enjoyed the 2023 MTWS Season Tracks, as it's going to be a wild season. And of course, tune in very soon as well for a very important poll that all of you fans and others really need to answer immediately. It's very important for MTWS. So I hope you all enjoyed the debuts, as you're going to see them one final time to wrap up the video. So see you all on August 23rd for the season openers in Tampa and Las Vegas.
The only thing to save is the banner that you wave to be wrapped around your grave. You got to fight.